Today I'll be talking about Mark A. Strittmater disappearance, a bow hunter that vanished while elk hunting. His remains were found 3 years later. For those of you who are new, I would like to welcome you here. I talk about disappearances, solved and unsolved murders, scary stories, mysteries, and much more. Mark was declared missing on October 20th, 2019. Looking at his missing flyer, he was a 44-year-old man, 5'8" in height and 130 pounds in weight. The day that he went missing, he was sighted at a convenience store buying some items. He had on a light camel long sleeve shirt, an orange hat, some green/gray pants, and boots. These pictures were taken at approximately 5:45 a.m. the morning of October 19th. Now, looking at his attire, we can make an assumption that it isn't very cold. Taking a look at the average temperature of Wyoming in that region is between 64 degrees Fahrenheit to 49 degrees Fahrenheit during October. Based on this, we can tell that the attire was adequate. There was an early winter storm that did come through Wyoming that month. While reading through articles for this disappearance, it does mention an early winter storm but makes it seem that it happened afterward. As far as I've seen through my research, there was a storm that did happen, but it occurred 10 days before Mark was reported missing, where temperatures reached in the single digits. Some reports even stated that there was 1 to 2 feet of snow on the ground. There was another storm that did occur at the end of November, so a whole month after he disappeared. There might have been smaller storms in between, but as far as I could find, I didn't really see any kind of large snowstorm. The wildlife also needs to be taken into account. Wyoming is home to a very vast amount of wildlife. The game that Mark was hunting on this trip is elk. For those of you who don't know how elk look, here's a picture and also a comparison to a regular white-tailed deer and also a moose. As you can see, these animals are much larger than regular deer and not quite as big as moose. There are also white-tailed deer, antelope, moose, mountain goat, bighorn sheep, and much more. All of these have their own hunting seasons. Wyoming is also home to both black bears and grizzly bears, both very powerful animals. There are two main methods to protect yourself against these powerful animals: bear spray and a high caliber weapon. The last time that anyone heard from Mark was his girlfriend that received a text from him at 11 a.m. A police search was conducted and the truck was located. Here's the map of the area, and you can notice the red pin drop at the bottom left. That represents the location of the truck, while the lighted up square represents where the remains were found. I couldn't find the precise location, so the location was just set to south of Rawlins. We can tell just by the image that the distance traveled is significant. His disappearance set off several searches. Unfortunately, nothing was found. A year later, a hunter happened to come across a set of binoculars that belonged to Mark. Other than that, nothing else was found. Another year after that, a group of Wisconsin hunters that were hunting in the area found a firearm, quote-unquote, in the vegetation. At about 8 a.m. October 16th, south of Rawlins, according to the Carbon County Sheriff's Office. The hunters alerted a Wyoming Game and Fish Department warden, who in turn called the Sheriff's Office and Carbon County's Coroner's Office. They went in the very next day and were able to find the remains, and the coroner was able to do an autopsy and figure out that it did belong to Mark, and he said that there was not any indication of foul play involved. This goes to show that the wilderness is an extremely dangerous place, even if you know what you're doing. My condolences and prayers go out to the Strittmater family.